So you want to take the island, burn the boats. That's how it goes, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. It's the concept of if you have no path back, your only path is forward. Like, actually, even Sun Tzu described this in The Art of War. If you encircle your enemy, they will fight harder than they've ever fought in their entire lives, because the concept is they have no other way out other than to fight. But if you surround them in 3/4 and give them a way out, the majority will retreat and you'll overtake the entire army.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the $1 Million Electrician Podcast, where we help home service pros like you supercharge your business and spark up those sales.
I'm Joseph Lucani, and together with my co-host Clay Newmeyer, we're here to share the secrets that have helped electricians sell over $1 million from a single service van.
Now it's time for sales. It's time for scale. It's time to become $1 million electrician.
Hello, my friend, and welcome back to another season 3 of the $1 Million Electrician. I'm pumped to be here. Joe, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling beyond blessed. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to serve our community. I love doing what we do. I love doing it with you. I mean, life is good. How could you ask for more?
Likewise, man. And I got to ask you, and before I do, let me set this up and let you guys know. If you're watching today, we intend to have some fun. If you're listening in today, we intend to have some fun with this. We've already had one episode or a couple episodes that you've heard from season 3, but we haven't had just good old Joe and I time. So we've got a ton of updates for you, things that are new and come down the pipe as far as content and helping you in your electrical business, how we've been able to better roadmap what we've learned over 3 years of doing this now, and be able to actually turn that knowledge into, well, valuable content for you guys. And so there's so much to unlock here today. And I got to join you, Joe. Super, super grateful to be here, grateful to be on this mission and just help people avoid the same traps that we fell in.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's almost like a redemption. Granted, I did well for myself, but at the same time, I made a lot of mistakes, and I can own that because that just comes with life. Like, you're going to learn things. Like, I'd rather know it yesterday, but if I can't have learned it yesterday, the best thing to do is to know it today. And if I can keep people from going through those mistakes, it gives me a justification to say, you know what? It is still part of the divine path that I learned those mistakes so that perhaps I'm teaching someone who needs to not make it even once can avoid it.
Totally agree with you. And you guys probably noticed some studio changes. We got a few things. Joe's got some sweet light. Tell us about the light behind you, brother.
The light. You're saying so about the Death Star? That little guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant compared to the power of the Force, but I just love it. Honestly, wearing my Star Wars nerd, I'm covered in Empire tattoos and Sith tattoos. It's not appropriate to not have a Death Star in the background. I mean, obviously, you got to show your loyalties, right?
Why is Star Wars such a big deal to you? Help me understand it.
So I guess it comes with the autism thing, where I didn't understand necessarily how to make things come in context. Like, I didn't necessarily know how to interpret things when I was young. And I remember my dad telling me the story of Star Wars. And my honest to God thought was I thought he made the story up. Like, I genuinely thought my dad thought up Star Wars off the top of his head. And I was completely mesmerized. And as I kind of grew older, I realized that it continued to carry the ability of learning things and translating things. Like, primarily, there was a part of my life where I was very, very deep into darkness. And the problem is that I was burning myself, like not physically, but I was being consumed by myself, and I didn't know how to best understand what I was going through. But understanding the lens of the dark side and understanding how it does and what it does and why it does allowed me to say, like, okay, this is something that I can understand, and if I can understand it, I can address it, or at least I can aim it. So it became one of those things where I could socialize with it because there were enough people who could talk about it. I could, if things didn't make sense, I could be like, well, in the context of this, how would I have interpreted it? And then be like, oh, okay, I know what they're going on with this. And I mean, for lack of better things, even just for the fun part, I'm a combat enthusiast. So the ability of learning sword choreography and constantly learning martial arts and developing my sword skills, and then picking up a lightsaber and being able to do cool stuff with it. I mean, who could ask for better than that, right?
We need to do like a landing page. We need a website just for your choreography around lightsaber work and some of your battle videos, especially in the dark. They're so good. If you guys haven't seen this, please go add Joe on Facebook and go look for these lightsaber videos. It's so fun to watch, clearly dedicated to it. Let me ask you a deeper question now that we're in Star Wars. We didn't plan to go here, but I'm dying to know.
Mhm.
I'm sure other people are questioning this too.
Sure.
How did Star Wars help you in the field as an electrician?
That's actually a very great question. Okay. So how to best answer this? I primarily identified as Sith. And that may not make sense to any of it, but it means that I identified with I'm using my darker emotions to accomplish a task. And when you're broke as a joke, and when you're struggling, your back's against the wall, and you're constantly in a state of fear, fear can either consume you or you can direct it. And there's a quote from Star Wars that I applied to myself, and it's fear attracts the fearful, the strong, the weak, the innocent, the corrupt. But fear is my ally. And what it meant was I may be in fear, but I am not ruled by fear. I will direct that fear and I will be a conduit that will aim it away from me so that I can use it as a tool. And you'll often find, even today, though I try my best to walk a more balanced path, when shit really hits the fan, I will be afraid, but you'll never see me hide. I will always be the first to step up and want to fight. I will always be there to try and take things over. And I will always aim it in the best possible direction I can because I don't want to succumb to it. I may not be able to control it, but I can aim it. And that's really, really what helped me get through some really dark times in my business.
You know, the fact that you just said that just related this in a couple of ways to how I feel about what we really do here at Service Loop Electrical and on this podcast, $1 Million Electrician.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the first battle is always won when we help someone overcome their self-doubt, their own fears, just the same thing that you use Star Wars to overcome. And I feel so powerful and so strongly about this, rather, as life-changing for my own trajectory and how it reshaped what I was permitting myself to try to do just so I could see a result and adjust. Just like even the fact that we're here talking about this on a podcast, I know in our first podcast, like we sucked. We weren't great. You were afraid. I was afraid. People might be wondering, well, afraid of what? How about saying the wrong thing and rejection? How about trying to help someone and not being able to? How about just like electricians tend to fear going on top of a mountain and shouting their own name? Go and tell leads how you can help them, how you're different, how you care about them. And, you know, there's this huge question of why, but I think that's our first and biggest battle, brother. We help people overcome that little voice in your head so you can be the big voice external to your head, if that makes sense.
I agree with you completely. And, you know, one of the things that actually fear does, and this honestly could be the lessons of fear, would be a phenomenal title of the episode. But, you know, at the end of it, what it really comes down to is if you evaluate what fear does to you personally, you can at least identify when you're not in your right mind. So like, as an example, when I'm afraid, I focus on security. I focus on locking myself down. I focus on like, what can I do to protect what I have? How can I protect my family? How can I protect what I have? That's my fear mindset. My growth mindset is the thought of like, okay, where can I take this? How much farther do I need to push? What are the next levers I need to take? What are the buttons I need to switch on? So when I'm in this moment and I think to myself like, all right, you got to hunker down. We got to do these things. Okay, that's your fear talking. But because I can identify it, I can say, all right, we know what to do with it. Let's aim it. What can we do to almost judo momentum this fear into the right direction so that instead of it shutting you down and making your heart have palpitations and you just locking yourself in the bed, it's what can I do to take that and use its own momentum against itself? And instead of holding me back, it's pushing me forward.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I believe in this so much. Many people don't know this. Also part of another company called Forged Youth is also a podcast right now to help youth athletes get their mindset correct so they can start working on these skills early. because I honestly believe this is stuff they should teach in school. We ought to know these things better, but it seems to be this almost protected knowledge. Like you don't get this in the general education system, how to overcome yourself to achieve great things.
Mm-hmm.
This is like my 99% focus, brother. It is 100%. If there's anything that's true about me is like, I'm a student for life.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to learn. That's one of the best things about this podcast and this journey that we've been on is how much we learn from the people that use this, that break it, and that make it successful in so many ways that we didn't expect.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like recently, we talk about like Nathan and his 105K fifth month in business ever. And it's like, sure, that stuff doesn't happen overnight. Let's pull the sheet out from in front of our eyes here and just like be honest with ourselves. This is a guy with experience who ran service and generator calls for a long time. But nonetheless, I've also never heard of someone in their fifth month going from zero to $105,000. How many days is that? 150 days. If I was going to start over from scratch today, which I wouldn't, by the way, that's a whole other conversation. We'd do that a bit different. But I would call into question if I could do it. If I could do what Nathan did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how much did that surprise you when you saw that come across the plate?
And, I don't want to say I was envious. It was more like being a proud dad, watching your kid hit a home run in Little League for the first time, because he did what I couldn't. I didn't do that. My first year in business, I think I sold like something like $98,000 and we were so in debt. You know what I mean? So, to hit what I hit more than what I hit in a year in less time is like, well, good for you, man. If anything, it made me feel like we were doing the right thing. And I wanted to circle back to something you just said, because you were like, we don't learn these skills in school. And I think there's a real reason for that actually applies to what we do and why it's so effective. My personal belief about the general school system is that it's meant to produce employees. It's not meant to produce leaders. Leaders, those things are in the prestigious colleges where they have themselves locked in the social groups. And like, that's where a lot of people learn through the education system how to be leaders. But the general populace is taught things we won't know unless we're trying to do it for a paycheck. The real life experiences, the leadership skills, come from getting smacked in the face and getting up.
Nice. The old everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face routine.
Mike Tyson's right. I mean, I think honestly more people need to get punched in the face for what it's worth.
Did you know, I'm going sideways here a bit, but I told you guys we're going to have some fun. Did you know Mike Tyson was hypnotized to win?
Hypnotized to win?
Yeah, he was hypnotized. He was regular undergoing hypnotherapy to unleash the beast. And some of the triggers that they were hypnotizing within him, not the triggers, but the actions and the products rather, was like, you get hit, but you don't feel it. You're a beast looking to completely annihilate your opponent. So much so that I've heard some interviews recently. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast on an ex-CIA behavioral expert who's designed a lot of their systems. And he was talking about this. They were actually, him and Joe, and I couldn't believe that. But it makes a ton of sense. And it's exactly what we're talking about here. Other than we don't do hypnotism. I don't have a lot of experience with that. I wish we could. That would be easier sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I think what happened in Nathan's case and why this is all relevant is sometimes people hypnotize themselves. Can I explain what I mean by that?
By all means.
Sometimes, and this is what I've noticed, sometimes people like Nathan, Dorian, others who are just like so in 110% belief that this podcast and these strategies and the stuff we give away is real, which it is, by the way, spoiler alert, it's real. But it matters how much you believe it. Your perspective is still part of the recipe. And if your perspective is 1 foot in the pool, dip the toe in, test the water, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And this circles fully into, what do they say? It works or it doesn't. Either way, whatever you believe is true. Mm-hmm. I've never seen more evidence in my life than here with what we've been doing, Joe, and what we've been teaching and how we've been helping people. Because the more I see people just embrace it, like, this is the way. It has to be this. The more success we see with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I noticed in the case of Nathan and Dorian, for example. Forrest, who's going to be on the podcast this season, maybe already came across, I should know this better, the order of operations, but he calls this a high bias to action. But I believe there's a trigger to high bias to action, which is just believability.
Mm-hmm.
How much do I believe? What's my level of confidence in this as a solution for my high bias to action? And if I believe it to X extent, does that mean then I will act to an equal extent? And I think that's the formula, brother.
You triggered a memory for me. And it was actually, it's a samurai bushido concept. And I think it really applies to this situation. It's, if you go into battle already dead, you will come out alive. But if you go into battle hoping to live, you will surely die. And what that means is, if you're going into this thing with full commitment and full belief that nothing is going to change you from what you're doing, you will survive. But if you go in with this half-assed attempt of like, well, I'm gonna play defense, I'm gonna do this, I'll be careful, I'll allocate my money the right way, that's when you don't invest enough into what you're doing, and that's what kills you. The hesitation kills more people than the actual car crash itself.
I feel like we're talking about burning the boats too.
Throw it in there.
That's the same concept.
Yep.
Like, essentially, if you want to take the island, essentially, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. That's how it goes, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. It's the concept of, if you have no path back, your only path is forward. Actually, even Sun Tzu described this in The Art of War, where if you encircle your enemy, they will fight harder than they've ever fought in their entire lives, because the concept is they have no other way out other than to fight. But if you surround them in 3/4 and give them a way out, the majority will retreat and you'll overtake the entire army.
We need sound effects, because that was huge. That's a huge moment. Point to Joe for bringing up Sun Tzu, Art of War, on the podcast. If you guys don't know what this little book is, please check it out. There's so much golden knowledge in Sun Tzu. That's amazing, man. This has been so building of character, building of knowledge, building of just experience of what's possible out there. And I could keep going with this forever. I mean, one of our guys, and I'd love to have him on the podcast, one of these days he'll come out from the shadows and join us here, was doing about 100K months last year. He joined us about 10 months ago, and 2 months ago he hit his first 304,000, I want to say, in a 30-day period. That's a 3x in 10 months. That is massive. And moreover, I can't spill all the details, but I'm told I can say this anonymously. He wasn't even in the country during that month. He was actually away, leading his team remotely for that period that they had their best month ever. Joe, what would that mean for you? I know you were 2018 when you left your business, right?
2021, I believe. I have to go back to the exact memory of it. I think it was either 2020 or 2021.
Couldn't be that late, because you were with former company for how many years?
When was it?
2,
Honestly,
3 years you were head coach.
Yeah, I think it was either 19, 20, or 20. No, we went through COVID. I believe it was 21 I sold, and then joined that same year, and then stayed until you and I were together.
Yeah, because we're coming
for
on
2.5 years. I was doing the other thing.
Yeah, 2026 marks our 4th year.
That's it. The thing is, time seems to just blur at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you think about it and you're actually adding in the times for things. And it feels like starting my business, even though it was in 2013, feels like it was 30 years ago. And then exiting and selling my business feels even further away, though. It's like this weird thought. And I feel like every step I take in life brings me to a higher elevation of who I am as a person. And it's almost as if it gets wiped out. Like, some of the finer details end up they're no longer relevant. And I have to be questioned. Like, I sometimes don't remember how old I am. It's like, wait, how old? It's like, I was born in 90. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be 35. Yeah, all right, cool. I'm gonna be that. You ever catch yourself doing that?
Oh yeah. 1 year I kept saying I was 35 until my brother was like, He's 10 years my junior exactly. He was just like, bro, you're not 35. Stop telling people that. I was off by like 2 years.
Oh, that'll do it.
So I got called out. I want to give you compliments. You've done a ton by your age. You have a birthday coming up, just a couple weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say November 2nd. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't like to tout it because I don't ever want to come across like I'm bragging, but I've lived a lot of lives. And I'm very not only just surprised, but I'm very grateful to be blessed to have survived those lives. Because surviving who I was and what I went through allowed me to be who I am now. And I believe who I am now is putting more good in the world than it is putting bad. And I feel like if I'm continuing to do that, at least, God willing, the blessings continue to come.
100%. And you know what? It's these days, like we're going into 2026. It's not even a compliment anymore to be doing big things by 30, not to give everyone this false sense of urgency. Whatever it takes you, it takes you. But I just want to call attention to the fact that there's like 18-year-old kids doing $1 million months now for some AI dream they had, or you know what I mean? Like people are starting companies overnight before they finish high school. They're millionaires. And I'm like, how in the heck? How in the HE double hockey sticks did that happen, Joe?
Double Canadian right there. I love it.
Yeah, you got it, man. Hey, let me ask you a serious question.
Hit me.
Do you ever think about starting a service company again?
Sometimes. And the thing is that I found that I don't do electric work every day, but it makes me want to do it even more. Like I genuinely enjoyed doing electrical work, and I really came to love sales because I could predict it. Because I had a process that I was able to do every day, in and out. It was on autopilot. I didn't have to think. I just was operating off instinct and reflex through the constant practice. So if I could get back into that mindset and I'm able to get back in there, half of me would say yes. But in reality, the other part is that I've come to love this so much more, not because of any other reason, but I just feel like I can help more people. Like when I was working in the service business, I would go into a home and I could make that one family really, really happy, and I could make their life better, and I could connect with them and build amazing relationships. But that was one family. But if I work with one client, I'm able to not only work his life better or her life better, but all their employees' lives better. And then all the families that are attached to those employees. And then their families now can have maybe generational wealth that'll help their children. And that's just with one interaction. So if you're judging by how much good you can put into the world, I personally think I'm doing more good by working with people and making their lives better than on the one-to-one interaction of doing service business.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I feel like every time you do an options class, you indirectly help 5 families anyway, because people go out there and use these solutions you design and they're excellent.
Well, thank you.
Really gives people a lot of choice. Okay, obviously we're biased, right? But Joe, be extremely honest with us here. Be brutally honest, please.
Okay.
If you were going to start up again, if you were going to grab a service van and grab like 1 or 2 key people, if you were going to do that and just be like, you know what, service loop's a thing. Clay will grab a couple people over in the other side of North America. Joe will grab a couple people over here, and we'll just do what we can to just have like key employees and a key process. My question is this: would you follow our roadmap?
I mean, yeah. And the reason, I mean, like, I was waiting for like the loaded question. I'm like, that just seems like a straightforward one. Well, yeah. And here's
it's like a Mercedes sales guy's got to drive a Mercedes. So you're on the ultimate blast test here.
Well, yeah. No, well, the reason being is this, is that even if I didn't believe it for myself, right? I've seen so much proof in so many other companies that it works, in addition to working in my own company, that it makes sense when you have so much positive result. So the thing that I originally was thinking about was everything we taught was a accumulation of knowledge from everywhere that we've learned from. So it's not like you're trusting one person. You're trusting an incredible amount of professional and expert advice that was gathered over 10, 15 years at this point. So would I trust it? I would whole ass this thing. It would be like, the expression is don't half ass one thing or two things, whole ass one thing. So I would commit 100% to it, even if it killed me, because I know that if I'm going to put my back against the wall and do the thing, that's when the magic happens. I have to commit 100%. Like, I often consider myself a spear point, and we've made this reference we had. Some people consider themselves different things. I am a spear. I am good at a very particular set of skills. And in the right hands, those skills can penetrate any target. But a spear is not a saw. A spear is not a hammer, right? There are things I do really, really well. And what I feel has made me successful now more than previously is I can identify what I'm good at and what I'm not at. And what I would do differently if I was in that situation would be I would align myself to either doing the sales in the field for the sake of training other people so they can believe that it's done. But then I would focus entirely on just really crafting the most apex salespeople I could find. Because when I pour my whole heart and all my knowledge into it, I know and I've seen the positive results. So, I mean, we may be taking this into a circle, but yeah,
No,
I would do it.
It's good. And I think what people don't realize is I just want to double underline, exclamation point, highlight what you said is like, this is no longer about just our experience, because what we've experienced is extended beyond our individual boots on the ground to the hundreds, the thousands of people that have shared wins, that have taught our process or similar parts of it and sent it out and reported wins back. The people that have been on the podcast, the clients, everyone around this, and the content has been so good at giving us the feedback. And it reminds me of actually Napoleon Hill. Do you remember that name?
Napoleon Hill. Not something that stands out to mind, but granted, I'm not good with names as it is. If you give me some sort of kickstart, I'll probably remember whatever book it's read from.
It's on the shelf behind me, and you guys probably can't see it. It's hidden behind a couple of things, but Think and Grow Rich.
There we go. Okay.
Think and Grow Rich. Like Napoleon Hill, what he did was study millionaires at that time. Those were like the richest people. And he studied and studied and studied them, the most successful people on the planet. And as a result, he did like crazy stuff, by the way. He created a meeting room in his head, like a round table, where he would learn so much about a person that he could actually put them in his roundtable room and built his own little room of consultants. I actually really believe in this. It might seem a little woo-woo for you if you're listening, but that's a real thing. If you've ever felt like, yeah, I'm top dog in my world, but heavy is the head that wears the crown, and I still need advice sometimes. I still need mentorship. I still need someone to help me answer this question. That's what he did really well. He interviewed and basically became these people and their insights by internalizing it, I think would be the right word to say that.
That would make sense.
Which is remarkable. And I think in many ways, that's what we've been able to do, which is such a blessing. So I have to agree with you on that, man. There's been so much. And people don't realize when we started their first podcast episode and what we were giving away, like it was about this time of year when you and I first spoke, Joe, about partnering up.
I remember that.
And there's this whole situation and we're both feeling it. No one's really fully addressing. I think finally we said, it was like, okay, well, at some point in one of these meetings, you got to show me yours and I got to show you mine. And there's no coming back from that really, right? And you feel that when you're in that moment of like, there's all these intellectual properties and your sales process and mine more the marketing and business strategy side and the people I was already helping. Oh my God. It was nerve wracking, wasn't it?
It was, but it also wasn't in the same time. And I can explain why. I remember that moment very, very, very well. And I knew because of the previous place that I had worked that I was leading didn't want to teach electricians. I had the play. I had everything that I needed. I had designed the process. I wanted to teach it. But we were told that electricians don't make money. You don't work with electricians, so it's not worth investing in. And I didn't want to work with HVAC guys. I didn't want to work with plumbers, not because I don't respect the trades, but I feel like the person who's teaching it should at least have a specialty in the thing enough to teach it. Like when I design options, it's because I have so much experience in the electrical field that I can do so. So I wanted to work with electricians, and I'd been following you. Like you had some really cool stuff. So I believed that if I were to show my hand and be like, this is what I've got, it takes so much to teach it that even if I showed you what it wasn't going to be like I'm dumping the whole suitcase out. Because I could give you the play, but it doesn't mean that you can perfect it. You could run it, but it doesn't mean you can perfect it. I can perfect it because I did it for so many years, every single day, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's why I was
makes
both
sense.
scared, but not really at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is like we're growers. One of the biggest things that happens over time is you see people kind of come, kind of go, they keep in touch, they're doing their thing. And sometimes I look back and this is a problem we're trying to fix in our business actually for the future by inviting some of our past clients back to just be a part of our community and see the difference. Because I look back and I'm like, ugh, cringy, right? Where we started is cringy, man. I remember like basically we were teaching from PDFs in the beginning. That's all there was just the written processes and the tools. And like as of right now on this big push that we're finishing, gosh, we're up to like 200 trainings in our library. And you know what? Let me preface before I continue. Let me just say, I think it was really important that those didn't happen till now. Because we know so much more about how this works just from experiencing people go and use it and get results in different places in different ways. It's just, again, I'm incredibly grateful. And that's why we've been able to take these roadmaps and adjust them to this level of which they are today. And guys, I told you we're going to give you some goodies. As always, I want to call attention to our podcast sponsor, Duramax. They've been great. We had Jesse on the show end of season 2. Duramax doing great things for us. If you're part of our community on the SLE Pro App, you get some great deals through Duramax and all of our other providers. That can be super helpful. But if you want this roadmap, guys, the thing I promised you in the beginning, I've actually got a website that you can go to. We have a website that you can go to and check it out for yourself. So when you're ready, I'm going to tell you the exact website URL. You won't even need a pen, I promise. Joe's like, yeah, enough build up. Just drop it already. All you guys got to do is go to $1 Million Electricians, plural, there's an S at the end, podcast, $1 Million Electrician with an S on the end, $1millionelectricians.com. And I'm going to walk you through the roadmaps and what we're seeing that just works so well. Whether you're what we call a noob early in the business or stuck with some new problems, a hustler really breaking through that 500,000, but having trouble getting all the way through the million, or the all-star level of electrician who's already crossed the $1 million threshold, likely seeing challenges with actually training your team or having them adopt the training, maybe some culture or recruiting issues, and maybe just a lot of ground to gain from the efficiencies. And we tell you exactly where to look, what to work on, and when. And then if that wasn't enough, we also capture both of our level 1 and level 2 needs roadmaps for electricians, which just shows you exactly where we're seeing the most fruit come in for the hundreds of electricians that have come through our program. Furthermore, here pretty quick, I'm going to add our survey on that page to help you guys assess where you are as soon as that thing's done in the next week or two. And today, at time of recording, we're middle of October. So I'd say by November, there's going to be some wicked surveys to help you guys place yourselves. Why do we do this, Joe?
Is that general
What
question?
is
The reason?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Let me reposition that question because I think we've covered that already, but let me ask it this way. When we first started and I said, Joe, what we got to do is give it all away. Do you remember a knot in your stomach when you heard that was the plan, or how did you feel about that first?
So I think I need to explain how my brain works to make anything I'm going to say actually make sense. And here's why.
Fair enough.
I am a leader, but at the same time, I recognize I'm also a lieutenant. What that means is that I can get behind an idea and recognize once I believe the idea and support the leader in anything that needs to be done. And I believe that particular skill helps me work in partnerships really well. So I didn't understand necessarily the thought process of why it was going to be done that way. But I had faith in you, and I had faith in the abilities, and there was a roadmap and there was a plan. And it was like, this is what we're doing. This is why we're going to do it. This is the output result we're supposed to get. And I remember looking at that and being like, I don't know how to do that, but I do know that I can put trust in this person. I've committed to starting a business with him. I believe in what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I'm recognizing you had more experience in that aspect than I did. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to question it. I'm going to give it my whole heart. I'm going to pour my soul into what we're doing. I put my faith in it. And I did, what can I do to support it better? So was I afraid? Yes. But at the same time, it didn't make me afraid because I knew we had a plan and I trusted who created the plan.
I appreciate that, share, and I appreciate the vote of confidence, brother. If you guys have been following along for some time or you're just finding us now, we got great news for you. Not only is there a ton of podcast episodes and content and value pieces for you to take advantage of from the last 3 years, but being that we just revamped our academy, that we've just gotten our app out to the public here in the coming weeks, finally, you guys can be a part of this community at a higher level without the distractions, just like minds working together to paint the best electrical service picture on the planet. And not only that, I'm going to add to this and say these roadmaps, all these new trainings, our plan is to really give most of that away for free too. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because we want you to have the recipe. We want you to succeed. We believe that this is the time of gold rush for electricians. In fact, for many of you who already heard us in the last couple of years, you already know what it's been. This is an early movement, but it's starting to get to kind of a mid-movement area. Mm-hmm. As we give this away, as we promote this stuff more and more and more to help you, at the same time, private equity are buying up more electrical companies than ever before. There's more eyes on electrical service as frontline workers and as an important piece that won't be replaced by AI. So the spotlight is starting to shine. Maybe we're a part of that, but I think it was going to happen either way. Mm-hmm. People knew. We knew the whole time. We were some first movers in this. We always knew this trade was worth the investment. Mm-hmm. The only thing to do now, Joe, is to double down and invest more than we ever have before. For our listeners, for our viewers, and for all the electricians who are out there already or are going to be out there making a go for themselves in business or even helping someone else succeed in their business. As you guys know, a lot of people do not subscribe. A lot of people don't leave us a like or a review, but those little movements, those little actions help us out a ton. So if you got value from today's episode, if you get value from other episodes, please share this with someone you know that could use this help as well. Please leave the like. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We're only going to keep growing by getting more feedback and giving more and more and more away. So if that's you, welcome. Join us on this journey. We can't wait to continue throughout season 3 into 2026 and beyond. Thanks for the interview today, Joe.
Truly my pleasure. My friends, may you all be blessed. Take care.